NRL Daily, Charlie White here with David Riccio and Brent Reid. And boys, we are talking the biggest issues in the game.
Absolutely we are, right? The Doggies, boys. No bigger fan base as far as I'm concerned in Sydney. And Leo Thompson, is he the saviour? Is he the man they're missing?
When you talk of biggest issues in the game, Dave and Charlie, there's only one club you talk about. The West Tigers, baby.
You are
We're
not.
talking Tigers.
Black and gold will never fold. We're doing that next here on Triple M NRL Daily. Now, boys, there isn't as much news today, so we thought, what can we do? What can we do? And we decided that we're going to focus on the biggest issues in the game for 2026. There's so many storylines, Dave. I don't even know where to start because when we started to put this rundown together, you know, there were so many things that popped up.
Yeah. Charlie, you're right. Reedy.
Well, you blokes put it together. I just sat back.
Let's be honest, Dave put it together.
Pretty much. That's
So if anyone's got a problem, these are Dave's issues, not mine.
pretty much Reedy's, the
And
way
if
he
we've
rolls.
missed anything, it's Dave's fault
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
It's
Well,
Dave's
there
fault.
we have missed things because there are storylines for all 16 clubs, but we probably won't get through all 16 clubs today. Maybe next week.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But the key here is if you actually dial in, if every footy fan sits and starts to dissect their own team, they will find the biggest question marks ahead of the 2026 season. But I think the Dogs they're just a huge fan base. And their supporters are crying out for success. And just the way they finished last year, there is a real sense of how are we going to respond? And will, I think, the arrival of Leo Thompson make a dramatic difference? Now, what I will say is that all my communication with the Dogs is that Leo has jumped straight into training. What's really interesting with Leo, guys, is he wasn't selected for the Kiwis. He was overlooked. Okay, so that's a byproduct of the Newcastle Knights season. And second to that, his form suffering as well. So he was overlooked. So he's got a point to prove, and he's turned up to training with a real spring in his step, and he's been impressive.
He's been training with performance expert, Dave. Justin Lang, I think his name is.
Yep.
So he obviously knew he had some ground to make up, obviously, and to make sure, as you said, he hit the ground running. So he's in good nick now. You're right. I thought he had a difficult season last year. Obviously injuries, and he obviously made the decision to go to the Dogs very early in the year. So I think he's got a point to prove. I think, and they need him to aim up because their pack was caught short this season. I always get confused saying this season.
I know, I'll be doing the
season,
same thing.
But last season. But mate, for me, the issue's always, the Dogs are always going to be a story, and they'll be a story again because of the spine issues for me. Like Leo's all well and good, and maybe Leo will help their pack, but if they can't sort out their spine, they can't work out who's playing seven. It looks like Hayward will play hooker. If Galvin and Hayward don't aim up next year, put a line through them now. Don't you think? I mean, ultimately, spines I don't think, we always talk about, you need a good forward pack. And you do need a good forward pack to win.
You do, mate. There's no doubt about it.
But spines win comps. Right?
But
that's why Penrith won 4 in a row, because they're the best halfback in the game. That's why Melbourne are always in the mix, because they've got the best spine in the game. So, a forward pack's great, right? You need a great forward pack. You need big boppers. You need blokes like Leo. But their spine will dictate whether they win the comp. And I still have massive concerns over their spine.
Yeah.
Fullback, hooker, halves, you can pick it apart.
I come back to, just on the pack. If you think about their performance in Melbourne, remember the injury carnage they had in Melbourne. And I just thought that the Storm pack toyed with them. I think Leo Thompson makes a massive difference to their side. My only fear is it's not enough.
I think Leo Thompson from 2 years ago makes a massive difference to their team. Leo Thompson from last year or this season, not a huge difference.
It's still not enough for me.
What's their spine though, Dave?
Yeah, okay.
Where do you think their spine ends up?
I think it definitely starts with Matt Burton and Galvin. I think in my gut, Serrato will start with Galvin and Burton.
Gavin with the 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think Woods is ready to go, but I still think there'll be that thought process of not round one. Not throwing straight.
So you
in.
think that they start the season with Burton and Galvin, but at some point during the season there'll be a change.
Well, either through injury or suspension, the change will come.
And that's Woods Galvin. It ends up Woods
absolutely
Galvin.
100%.
See, and this is where the Burton thing gets interesting, right? Because there's been a lot of talk about Burton and Perth, and Serraldo's, my understanding is, and you'd know this better than me, Dave, that Serraldo's saying Burton's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, he's very keen to shut that down.
But if Galvin and Woods are eventually their halves, right? And Burton ends up in the centres.
Mm.
Can you afford to have a team or a roster where you've got two centres on basically $1 million? Because Burton's on about $1 million.
No, you can't.
So at some point, something's got to give. Do you move Crichton? Does Crichton move to fullback? Do they try Burton at fullback? Like you
Is
cannot.
Bronson Cherry under pressure?
You cannot win a comp, in my opinion, and history probably suggests this. You can't win a comp by spending the vast majority of salary cap on two centres.
No, you can't.
It's impossible.
I agree. Yeah.
So for the balance of that footy team, for the balance of that roster, I think Burton if the Galvin Woods thing becomes a reality, Burton becomes expendable.
The reality is, though, if you have young halves and a young spine, you don't normally compete for premierships as well. So Dogs fans in their head, they're thinking this is a premiership window we've entered. If it ends up that Woods and Galvin are the halves, they're not going to be competing for the premiership next year.
It would be highly unlikely for a rookie halves pairing to be winning premierships. And the other factor that you haven't mentioned is fullback.
Massive problem.
Now, I have an absolute obsession with elite fullbacks winning new comps. I go through the last 10 to 15 premiers and that you have had an elite fullback winning the comp. And it's the same reason why the Dogs, Sharks, very good players, Connor Tracy and Will Kennedy, but not Origin elite level, and they ultimately hurt at the end of the season. And that's the problem for the Dogs, who is off contract Connor Tracy. They've got a decision to make there, and it's a case of whether they want to enter the discussion for Jareem Buller.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about him later, but he's the name that just keeps popping up, isn't he?
Yeah. Can I throw a left field one at you? If R360 ends up falling over, which it seems to be heading down that path, the Dogs are very close to getting Ryan Pappenhausen.
Last time.
Only 12 months ago.
Yeah.
If they don't get Buller, if Jareem Buller doesn't happen, do they look at Paps again and try and get in the market for Paps?
My gut feel is that bird has flown. And all conversations in and around Paps is that he's either R360 or it's probably curtains for his career.
What does he want to do then? Does he want to do? Because I know he's got his podcast he does with Munster and Hughes. Like, is media what he wants to do?
Well,
He likes playing golf. That's all I see. He loves his golf at the moment, Paps.
Yeah.
He's only 27. Feels like he's been around forever. Huh?
Yeah.
And he's 27 years old.
He's an intellect too. Like it's not all about footy for Paps. So
But Dave, he's not going to earn $1 million a year.
No.
Yeah.
As an intellect, pontificating on the problems of the world and posting on his social media account. With due respect to the great Ryan Pappenhausen who we love.
No, I agree.
But, mate, I wouldn't be surprised. Look, as I said, all the mail was, talking to agents last week, all the mail was that R360 was on the rocks because everything had gone quiet out of R360. Like agents who are involved with R360 were saying all the information had dried up. They hadn't heard anything. So if that happens and it falls over, maybe Paps goes and plays rugby in Japan or France.
Yeah.
Maybe he does.
Yeah.
But if his plan was to go to R360 at the end of next year and that doesn't happen, he'll be in hot demand. Like Perth will have. I imagine Perth would have read it. If Buller goes to the Dogs, you reckon the Tigers won't have a go at Ryan Pappenhausen?
Yeah.
I mean, he is a Tigers bloke from way back. So, that's an interesting one.
Are there any clauses in the Pappenhausen exit like
I don't think
Lomax
so,
had?
I
So
think
he
it's a
pretty
straight
much so he
exit.
could sign for another NRL
He can
club
do
for
what he
next
wants,
year.
is my understanding.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, we're going to speak about Jareem Buller, so we may as well bring it up. The Tigers, that's obviously their biggest issue, Dave, heading into next year.
Oh, absolutely it is. Both Reedy and I understand that there were some conversations last week in relation to Jareem's future at the Tigers. I suppose the question for me is, with the clauses in Jareem's contract, as far as the Tigers having the ability to simply tick the box and you are staying on beyond 2027.
2027, yeah.
Yep. Is why haven't they ticked the box? And now I understand it's in and around that $900,000 mark. So is it a case of the Tigers having some reservations around that figure? Because otherwise, as far as talent is concerned, I want him at my football club.
Look, there was, as you said, Dave, there were meetings last week. I believe they were positive meetings, but maybe their view is that we don't want to take him up for $900,000 if he doesn't want to extend beyond. I don't know this. This is me guessing. I haven't spoken. I mean, I obviously speak to Richo and I speak to Isaac, and I haven't asked either of them about this. This is me from externally looking at it. Maybe the Tigers haven't taken up because it's $900,000 and they don't want to commit that money if Buller's not willing to commit beyond 27.
Yeah.
Like if I'm the Tigers, I'm probably saying to him, mate, we'll take the 900 up in 27. Let's renegotiate the deal and do you for another 3 years rather than just 27. And let's do it let's revise 27, make it 800 and go up to 900 a million after that.
Yeah.
That's purely me hypothesizing what would be going on. But I can't imagine.
But even that, Reedy, suggests that then the Tigers aren't willing to back themselves in just having him for one more season and showing that there is a future here. We'll extend halfway through the season next year.
Well, wouldn't you be gun shy if you're the Tigers and you went through the Galvin situation? I'd be a bit gun shy. I want to tie the bloke down.
Yeah.
Before I went and gave him 900 grand, because they can use that money if they decide they don't want to keep Jareem around. Is Jareem going to get 900 on the open market in 2027? Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. So
I think that's the Dogs' reservations. They're watching Connor Tracy rip and tear at half that price. And they're going, well, is Jareem double the salary of Connor Tracy? Is he going to change our team as dramatically as a $900,000 player should? And I think you're right. I think there is reservations on the open market on whether he would get it.
Because maybe the Tigers think, well, look, if we don't take up the 900, that's 900 in our salary cap we can go and spend on. Maybe they sign Connor Tracy for 450.
Yeah.
And then they got another 450 to spend on their forward pack or something else because they got some good kids coming through at that joint. Macassini, the hooker, Hayward, I think his name is. Maybe they think that maybe, and again, I haven't spoken to Richo about this. I've spoken to him about Jareem Buller, but I haven't spoken to him about the machinations of what's going on there with Jareem. All he says to me is the discussions have been really positive and Jareem, they've walked away from them believing Jareem wants to stay and they want to keep him. So, you know, I'm sure at some point soon, because I know they want to resolve it soon, we'll have a decision one way or the other.
Fullback's an interesting one because like there's so many amazing fullbacks in the NRL. And in the past couple of years, it's like, not that many teams need a fullback, but now it feels like more teams are going to be in the market for a fullback. Obviously, Gutherson hasn't set the world alight at the Dragons. You know, they might be looking for a fullback. The Melbourne Storm now is far longer. Do they trust in him? You know, that's another team that like could come in for Jareem Buller. So Jareem Buller could have a lot of clubs coming in for
Your
him.
point's a really good one, Charlie, because this is the problem Will Kennedy found himself in. He was off contract at the wrong time as a fullback because every other club had already locked in and loaded with their current fullback. That market will shift, obviously, with the expiration of all those fullback deals. So, and that will happen in the next season or two. And so it will. I think we'll see a huge domino effect.
Teddy as well, as the Roosters getting older. Like there's
Teddy just what did he resign for? 27.
One
I
year
know
deal.
his time, but they've got a kid in their system. Rex Bathurst is their long-term fullback.
Is that who they think it is? Yeah.
So I mean, I'm just looking at it now. You got Broncos, you got Reese, KO Weeks. The Dogs have got a question mark. The Sharks have got a question mark. Not many others apart from those guys.
Dragon, Storm.
Titans haven't
Dragon, Storm.
Titans haven't locked down.
Depending on what happens with Kalen, maybe they got Fletcher Sharp. So you know, there's probably maybe four clubs.
Well, Cowboys, you mentioned Cowboys, Dave. Oh, well, we are going to get to them, but before we do, I want to say one more thing on the Tigers. Benji, coming into this year, pass mark was 16th, basically. It was avoid the wooden spoon. Your happy days. What's the pass mark for the Tigers this year? What's going to be enough to keep the pressure off Benji?
I don't think they have to make finals. I just, there's something there that I think we all saw enough upward trajectory in the way they were playing and their performances. They closed the gap as far as scorelines are concerned. And there was a different attitude about them. So I think there's some real positivity around it. I don't think, you know, so often we say, oh, they've missed the finals, you're gone. I don't think that's the case for the Tigers. They can just miss, and I think Benji will be all right.
Well, they win 9 games this year. I don't know. You probably got to improve on that, don't you? Mm-hmm. You've got to get a little better.
9 games and a final finish of...
They finished 13th, I think, from memory. Yeah, so, I mean, they just got to be in contention.
9th to 12th.
But if they miss the finals...
But it's not a finals roster, Reedy.
Well,
what if they start 0-8?
Well,
that's a different story.
He's in massive trouble.
He's in massive trouble.
Any team that starts 0-8, the coach can be in massive trouble.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Maybe Craig aside.
Yeah.
Craig and Robbo, potentially. Well, even Robbo might be under the pump at 0-8. If they start 0-8, I'd say he's Gonski. Right?
Okay. Right.
But they're not going to start 0-8, Charlie.
Yeah.
You know,
they got the bye first round.
that's right.
They'll be sitting 9th after round 1. That'll be great.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think Benji's under a little bit of pressure, not a lot. I think Richo's been pretty outwardly positive about Benji's future at the club, but
Because they all seem
they've got to
connected.
get better.
They all seem connected, don't
Remember,
they?
they did have the best spine in the comp, according to Richo.
Yeah, they've got some good kids coming through.
Yeah.
They've still got a good spine, great spine. Taylor May will have a full pre-season under his belt. They should improve.
That pack's
Kai Pierce-Paul they've signed.
Yeah, I like that
he's a good
signing.
footballer.
Yeah.
So they should get better. So if you say that and they won 9 games last year, they should be pushing for top 8.
Yeah.
I think I tipped them in the top 8, didn't I?
You did a couple weeks
with
ago.
the 14 other teams.
Yeah. Cowboys, Todd Payton, he's under pressure, a lot of pressure. I saw Michael Chamis on a podcast said he's got 10 games to save his coaching career, basically.
That's the standard figure. 10 games. We all give everyone 8 to 10 games.
8 to 10 games.
8 to 10 games is a magical figure.
Are we hearing anything about Cowboys through the off-season? The Cowboys are very loyal as a club, aren't they, to their coaches?
They're a passive board. They're a very, very passive board of directors. The most noise I heard around Todd Payton was at the back, was closer to the back end of the season, and it was becoming a discussion point internally, and certainly the names of Josh Hannay and Dean Young were being mentioned, but Todd was able to not save himself, but hold firm. And as I said, that board, they don't make rash decisions. It's really interesting if you have a look at their time under Payton. They just rebound every season. So in his first year in 2021, they finished 15th. The following year, they finished 3rd in 22. Then they went 11th in 23, 5th in 24, and then 12th last season. So on those metrics, you think they're going to have a good year.
It's never good when the club does a review at the end of the year for a coach. And they did a review at the end of the year and they changed their assistants.
Yeah.
Toddy kept his job.
He cleaned it. He cleaned house.
So that suggests to
around
me
him
that Todd is obviously under immense pressure because they did a review and it took a review to keep his job this year. So that would suggest he starts next season under massive pressure and he needs to win. If he doesn't win, he won't be the coach in 2027. Someone else will be.
I find the appointment of Blake Green interesting as well as one of his assistant coaches. Blake's certainly got an ambition to be an NRL coach and couldn't get that opportunity and went for the Newcastle Knights job, didn't get that opportunity and has decided to take his business elsewhere. And, the timing of joining Todd with the head coach under some pressure.
Both managed by the same man as well, aren't they?
There you go.
That's probably why, that's part of the reason he probably ended up there because Toddy's, and they're both managed by Isaac. So, I think Blake obviously decided he needed to change after the Knights because he didn't get the job there and he's got some talent to work with in North Queensland. I mean, great half, Tommy Dearden, good young kid in Jackson Purdue.
The Taumalolo deal.
That's a millstone.
It's a millstone.
Yeah. They tried to, obviously spoke to the NRL about potentially retiring him and there was talk obviously that one of the issues Todd was having up there was with Jason and their relationship. I think how long has he got left in that deal?
I think it's 2 years to go, isn't it? I'll just double check as you guys talk.
Yeah.
But the thing, that's where at the time, I'm so wary of those 10-year deals. I just, you've got to carry $1 million for Taumalolo and even to the point of which Todd, courage in his conviction, benching Taumalolo in the early part of his coaching tenure at the Cowboys, like you can't bench him. You can't have $1 million player coming off the. So it was the same situation for Dave Fafita at the Titans, and look how that ended. You got to be so wary about the 10-year deals. I'm not a fan at all.
2 years to go, ends end of 27. Jason didn't like that they were trying to retire him as well because that was kind of done behind his back a little bit.
Well, I don't know how much he was aware of it. I think they obviously had some chats with the NRL about how it would work, is my understanding. I don't think Jason was fully across it. And that obviously caused a bit of drama as you pointed out, Charlie. So I'm not sure how that relationship is now. I haven't checked on it, but it was tense. And look, I mean, one of the issues you hear out of Townsville that Toddy has is he can be a bit abrasive at times. And I think some players find that it doesn't suit their personalities. That's one of the suggestions that comes out of North Queensland pretty consistently. And, Blake Green, one of the reasons I imagine Toddy's actually brought in Blake Green is Blake's a really personable guy and really mild-mannered, good-natured bloke, right? So that maybe will complement Toddy's coaching style. But he's
Good
got to
attack
win.
coach as well.
Pretty
Coming
simple.
for the Newcastle Knights.
Mate,
had their
you
attack
bag
humming.
him 2 years
had
ago.
their attack
2
humming
years
this year.
ago when Callum was on song, he won a Dally M medal. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Blake Green was the attack coach then too, mate.
Okay. Was
Okay.
it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
The key for the Cowboys, and I don't want to, wish upon this at all, but Tom Dearden is an absolute gun. And he's contracted to the Cowboys until the end of 2029. So they in their world, there should be no concern whatsoever. But players want success. And you cannot keep going this seesaw of results, making the 8, finishing down the bottom, making the 8, finishing down the bottom, with one of the most elite halves in the premiership. And, next year's 2026. As I said, he's contracted through until 2029. He'd want to start seeing some results because, Tom's a champion character. But at the end of the day, he wants success, and he might decide to take his business elsewhere as well. So it's very important time for the Cowboys, very important time for Todd Payten.
It's not just Dearden as well. Their team is stacked, really. Like, it's arguably one of the better 17s in the comp. You've got guys like Ruben Cotter. You got Murray Taulagi. Drinkwater's a great player. They've got other elite forwards. Griffin Neame's a gun.
Nanai.
Like that's a top 4 roster, you would argue. If Craig Bellamy had that roster at Melbourne, it would be competing for the premiership.
The really interesting thing is you've seen dips in form from every single one of those players you've just mentioned. And you want to get to the root of the problem of why. Is it the club culture? Is it the coaching? Is it the training? Because every single one of those have been inconsistent. Nanai was dropped and had to find his form again. Murray Taulagi is being linked to the St George Illawarra Dragons. He's potentially on the outer. And then the next one is Drinkwater, whose name keeps popping up as far as his future not being secure beyond his current deal. So it's a huge moment for the Cowboys.
Do they see Purdue as a long-term fullback then? Is that maybe why Drinkwater's on the out?
I think that's obviously an option because Jonah Pezzett, they tried to sign Jonah Pezzett, and the idea there was to partner him with Tommy Dearden and potentially play Purdue at fullback down the track. So I think there is a view that he could play fullback and be a really good fullback. I think that is an option for them, yes.
We do,
but they've got to re-sign him first.
Yes. Yes, he's November 1 guy. He can sign now. And Perth are going hard after him.
There's a few clubs in for Jackson Purdue, as I understand.
Yeah. He's a great young player. Jason Demetrio on this podcast this year said that he's the best young player he's ever seen.
Ever seen?
Wow.
That's a Gus-like
Hello,
comment,
Gus.
isn't it?
Yeah,
JD.
I know. He backed him
JD's the
hard.
new Gus.
Maybe we'll get him to London Broncos.
That's exactly what's happening.
And then PNG.
Well, it was Anthony Seibold. Not a good year for Manly this year. Expectations were high. A lot of people were tipping them for the top 4 this year. They failed. There was a lot of off-field distractions, the Mestrov saga, the DCE saga. They've got rid of all that, and there feels that there's maybe some positive vibes starting to come back to Manly. Jamal Fogarty, we're seeing him in Manly colours. What are we expecting from Manly next year?
I think we expect what we always expect. It all hinges on Tom. Tommy's fit and plays the whole year, and players like Tommy Ken, they're a finals team. But if Tommy battles again, struggles with injury, I mean, it changes the whole outlook for Manly. The good thing they've got is they've got blokes who can have had experience at fullback now when Tommy's not there. That's the one security blanket they've got. Cooler can play there, outstanding fullback. Leo Hopewade can play there, outstanding fullback. But none of them are Tommy, right? Tommy is a match winner who wins games on his own. So it's going to hinge on, like, I hate to say it because you hate to put that sort of pressure on one bloke, but it's also an indication or a sign of how highly regarded he is and what a great player he is that we say it. You know, Tommy probably looks at it and goes, oh, God, they're talking me up again. But, Tommy, you got a glass half full, baby. It's because we love you and you're an absolute champion. That's why we talk about him like that.
Does that mean he needs to be fullback for them?
He's got to be, like, if Tommy's fit, he is your fullback every day of the week. Every day of the week. And I understand why Seeves moved him this year because he at the time, Tommy seemed to be struggling a bit with his confidence. But when Tommy's fit, if he gets a good preseason under his belt.
That's not what his brother thought at the time.
Who, Jakey?
Hugely outspoken about that.
About what, moving him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jakey had his own troubles last year. Yeah, no. Struggles this year.
I think that suggests that I don't think it was as rosy as what you thought.
Tommy wasn't happy. I remember interviewing at the Wolf Bar when it happened, and Tommy wasn't happy about it. He didn't want to be moved. But
it was data driven.
Well, it was, but Dave, the eyeballs could tell you he was battling a bit. You didn't need data to see it. I think everyone could see it.
I thought it was telling when his brother came out and said that we all know Tom's best position is fullback.
Tommy said it himself. They weren't happy about it. There's no doubt there were some internal ructions this year with Manly and those decisions. But I think that's why I reckon Kieran Foran's arguably Siebes' best signing, because the Trbojevic boys love Kieran Foran, right? And Foz is now part of the coaching system there. He'll be working every day with those guys. And if you need a buffer potentially between the coaching staff and players, or a voice that can soothe the concerns of some of those players, Kieran's a guy. Because, as I said, they love him. And when he got announced, they were on social media. Tommy was pumping it up, saying, great to have, what a legend, great to have him back. So he is such a crucial signing for Siebes and Manly, because he will be a circuit breaker if there is any tension there. I think Kieran will resolve it.
Yeah.
You go, Dave.
No, it's still dummy half for me. Well,
that's an issue, yeah.
It is an issue.
It's a huge issue.
And so you got a brand new halves pairing starting for the first time, and a dummy half situation that just can't be resolved at Manly. It's just ongoing. They've let Chen Kum Tong go to the Bulldogs as far as depth at dummy half is concerned. The situation with Lachlan Croker still hasn't been made public, but all suggestions are that the plan is for him to retire. I'm not trying to retire him. That's just what they're saying. The word on the street is. And then you've got Jakey Simpkin, he's a crafty dummy half, but it's not elite.
No, he's never really set the world alight.
Can I tell you who I'd try and sign if I was Manly? Sam Verrills. Bring him home.
Oh, wow.
He's a Northern Beaches guy. I think he's got 1 year left on his deal at the Gold Coast. Won't cost you the earth. I mean, he won't be cheap, but he won't cost you the earth. I'd be going to the Gold Coast, tapping on the shoulder and saying, any chance you let Sammy come home.
They got a bit of cap pressure up at the Titans too. They may entertain that.
What do you reckon?
I like it. They might even let him go.
Bring Sammy Verrills home, baby.
Yeah, Titans maybe would even let him go.
Maybe.
Potentially.
Have they got I can't remember their backup hooker.
The issue for Manly, it's like going to be such a sliding doors moment from their decade, isn't it? Just deciding to keep Manasi Fanu, let Appy go.
Yeah.
And then Manasi Fanu obviously gets charged and goes to jail. That's really costly.
Really unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, the combination between Luke Brooks and Jamal Fogarty, I mean, it's how long do we wait before it actually clicks into gear? Really interesting, the reason why Manly signed Jamal Fogarty was because he was, I wouldn't say he's everything that DCE's not, but there is an element of that Manly are looking for just a 7 to 8 out of 10 each week, kick, chase, really simple game plan, kick, chase, point the players around the park. The knock out of Manly, as DCE came to the back end of his career at the club, was that he was playing too off the cuff. He'd skip down the short side and Tommy and the rest of the team wouldn't know what's going on. He wouldn't stick to the plan. And, that's also one of his great attributes too, the way he can play eyes up footy. But for Fogarty, it's all about just keeping it inside the box and nothing too expansive. So, and the question there is how he finished his time at the Raiders.
It wasn't great.
Does he match Luke Brooks? Is that a good combination?
On paper, it probably is.
And is Luke Brooks, because you hear sort of murmurs that Luke Brooks isn't necessarily guaranteed to be playing in the halves all season long.
With the young...
Yeah.
With Joey Walsh coming through. Well, probably, he's probably under the pump a bit.
Because Luke Brooks has been a bit of a poor buy for them, hasn't he?
Well, he's been okay. I wouldn't say he's been... Poor's a bit harsh, Charlie.
Well, he hasn't been great,
I think he's reflective. I think he's
okay.
reflective of the club.
Yeah.
Really. I think he's been okay.
Yeah. Yeah. The other issue that got Jakey Trbojevic's future, I mean, obviously there was that contract offer on the table, then it got put back in the drawer, I guess, to see how Jakey recovered after his head knocks at the end of this season. So that's another little simmering issue. What happens with Jake?
How they manage
if Jake wants to go again.
Well, Jason King, the new Manly CEO, he's got to manage that.
Yeah.
Is Tolu cool? Has he been signed yet by Manly?
No.
So he's a
No,
November
hasn't.
1 guy.
They
Ruben
put a-
Garrick.
Ruben Garrick.
Ruben Garrick.
And then was the talk Ruben Garrick, the same thing happened. The same thing happened to him with the money, the initial deal that was offered.
Yes.
Another deal came in and it was less than expected.
Yes. Yeah, there was that talk, yeah. So both those guys are off. They're November 1 guys. They put offers to both of them, actually. They offered, I think Ruben was around 2 years, 1.1, and they put a three-year extension to Tolu Kula. I think their worry there is R360.
He seems like a star, doesn't he? If I
he's
was
a gun.
Perth, I'd go try get him.
Yeah.
He could be like your Hammerso tabloid.
Yeah,
for
real
those.
X factor.
Not a bad shout.
Real X
Not a
factor.
bad shout. I think Perth's looking at Ruben Garrick, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're looking at everyone. aren't they?
Everyone.
They got their
And
Christmas.
Tyron Wishart.
Any more?
Because they're brothers-in-law, maybe.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, yeah.
Any more?
Plenty more.
Well,
get
they
to that
signed someone
later.
from the Super League. They signed an
Yeah,
English international.
Yeah.
I forgot his name off the top of
Harry
my head.
Newman.
There you go. Thanks,
Yeah.
Reedy.
25-year-old.
Good player by all accounts.
129 games for Leeds.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't play in this year's series,
Yeah.
but was a young kid, gun, had some issues, overcame them. There were some clubs looking at him about, I reckon, 5 years ago. I remember hearing his name for the first time. Richo, I think, was looking at him when he was at, where was he then? South, maybe?
South, yeah.
Richo was looking at him about 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing there with Perth is that, and I say this with the greatest respect to Harry Newman, it feels like they're getting the stocking fillers to build their roster.
Well, you got to do that though, Dave.
And we're going to, and after
Well, hang
missing,
on a minute. Reedy, last couple of weeks ago, you're saying, you wouldn't want to sign someone who's the first player. They've got to be elite for Perth. So now you've changed your tune. Now you have stocking fillers, are you?
Well, I don't think, did they announce Harry? It just got out.
Yeah. Well,
This
yeah.
stuff just gets out.
Yeah.
I mean, they're about to sign Liam Henry.
Okay.
You know,
Are they?
Well, yeah.
big
That's
money,
big.
I hear.
I think they're very confident they've got him 600, mate. I think they're very confident they're going to get Liam Henry. I
Penrith
believe
was
he
another
met
one.
Penrith on Thursday or Friday. He sat down with Thursday, I think it was. He sat down with Ivan Cleary, and my understanding is he was telling him that was to tell him that Perth made me a good deal,
Wow.
good offer.
Yeah.
I think
That's
he's
massive.
a good signing for him, Liam Henry, when they confirm it, if they get it over the line. I believe they will. So, mate, they're filling
big-
it. They're filling it out. You know what? I spoke to someone today about it. They're actually in no rush because they're of the belief. And again,
They're
it's a bit-
gonna- of
it's a
course
bit
they're
like
going to
it's a
say
bit
they're in no rush.
But Dave, it's actually not a bad methodology, right? Why do they need to sign 20 players pre-Christmas?
What? No,
They don't need to.
No, mate.
And mate, they'll end up with by Christmas, they'll have 10, 12, 15 players already signed.
Yeah,
That's a good start.
yeah. Where I want a figurehead. You need the dominoes to fall on the back of a figurehead, a marquee signing, a flag bearer for this football
They've
club.
signed Harry Newman and potentially Liam Henry with no figurehead. So they've made some dance. I'm not sure they're going to
They
be able
missed
to.
Jaden Campbell by throwing the bank at him.
Yep. Well, and they made the Gold Coast up. They're offering 5 years at huge money as well. So the Gold Coast had to spend, and maybe because of that, some things will fall out of the Gold Coast. You know, they got to put some pressure on clubs, and they're doing that. So I don't know. I've come round to their way of thinking.
Have you? That's good.
I've drunk the Perth
how
Kool-Aid.
many signings was it by Christmas? How many signings was it?
10.
10. All
12.
right. So they got 2, 8 to go, guys.
No, they got more than 2. They've signed a couple of other blokes.
Okay, so 6 to go. 6 to go. They got 4 weeks. Good luck. The Raiders, they've signed someone, Kobe Black.
Yeah.
Now, this is for next year. Is that right?
No, 27.
27. Okay,
Yeah,
so
12 months away.
12 months away. There's no chance that Brisbane would let him go early.
You never say never.
Never say never. Okay. Now, what does that mean for Ethan Sanders? Because all the talk was Ethan Sanders just going to come straight in for Jamal Fogarty, but then they go and sign the under 18s, under 20s Queensland halfback. It's if I was Ethan Sanders, I'd be a bit confused by it.
You go.
Yeah, look, and not only that, they did have a dip at Sandon Smith as well.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt in the world they're going to back Ethan Sanders to start the season. But there is an element of, one, you need depth in the halves, and 2, you need pressure on positions. And I think that's basically it. If you have a look at the way the Raiders have done this rejuvenation, they've been able to have a number of players that can play in different positions and putting pressure on each other. In the outside backs, they've done that. Forward pack's probably a little bit more locked in, but I think it's about depth, and I think it's about keeping pressure on the positions.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a case of not thinking Ethan Sanders hasn't got it. I think they believe in him.
I think it was made pretty clear that Ethan Sanders would get first shot at the halfback job, but you need an insurance policy. I mean, if it doesn't work out, you need someone else who can step in. And Kobe Black, Obviously, Jonah Pezzett's coming over the top of him in Brisbane. There was no real long-term future for him in Brisbane with Jonah Pezzett there. And, he's had raps on him for a long time, Kobe Black. He's been considered the next great halfback to emerge out of Queensland. And maybe the Broncos lost a bit of faith in him, and Ricky's shown some. And that's one of the things Ricky, I reckon, has done really well in Canberra. He's shown faith in kids, and he's shown kids you will get an opportunity.
Yep.
If you're good enough, if you play well enough, you will get your chance. And I'm not sure he could see that in Brisbane. And that's not a shot at Madge because he just won a comp. So Madge knows what he's doing, right? But I think Kobe Black saw that, he's going to go down to Canberra. Ethan Sanders gets first shot at the 7 jersey. But what if he outplays him? If Ethan Sanders struggles a bit and Kobe Black is the player we all think he can become, Kobe's backed himself to be the halfback. And I'm not sure he could see that happening in Brisbane.
Okay. Is there going to be any hangover for the Raiders from the final series? Because really, they were so close. They had the Broncos beaten twice.
They blew it,
and they would be thinking they probably would have made the grand final, and maybe they would have won the comp. Maybe they would have lost to Melbourne. Who knows? But is this going to drive them? Is this going to create more hunger, or is this going to be like the Broncos of last year, where it just affected them too much?
Oh, I don't think I've seen Ricky as emotional. After the bow out of their season from minor premiership, and I put it firmly down to the way they were beaten, hugely controversial. Like some of those decisions that went against them were ridiculous, and I think that pained them that they didn't get a fair crack at it, and I think the age of the squad, Charlie, enables the rebound to be okay.
Okay.
I don't think the mental scars will be there being so young.
They blew it, man.
They did.
Yeah,
it's going to linger all off season. I can see it driving them the preseason. I'm a bit with Dave. I reckon it'll become a positive for them, the fact that they'll play with a chip on their shoulder this year. Because if they beat Brisbane in that final and they're in the prelim, man, they're probably in the grand final and they're every chance of winning it. So
chip on the shoulder's right, because we've already seen Donny Ferner come out swinging. Now, Donny's one of the most respected CEOs in the game.
Mild-mannered too.
Very mild-mannered, right? And doesn't fire shots across the bow at rival clubs. He's certainly done that with the Broncos and Magic round, and that's an early shot in November.
Ricky loves a bit of chip on the shoulder action too, doesn't he?
Well, Rick's the leader of it, right? Rick, he is Canberra, and he carries the weight of that city on his shoulders. But Donny's mild-mannered, and so there is a bit of an edge about them.
Gee, a lot's going to hinge, Dave, on how Ethan Sanders goes at 7, though.
Yeah.
A lot's going to hinge on that because they've got so much talent in the outside backs, and obviously Ethan Strange's a gun, and they've got a fantastic forward pack. But they need someone to steer that team around the park, and that's got to be Ethan Sanders.
Yeah.
So it's a big challenge for him.
It is. The Sharks, Dave, team you're very close to, they've got 16 players off contract.
Yeah, Dave's on the recruitment committee.
Yeah. I think he's getting a board spot on the board soon. Yeah. They're going to take Galvin off the board. He hasn't been that good in the meeting, so they're going to put Dave on.
Yeah.
It's a hugely defining 12 months coming for Cronulla. They do. They have a host of players off contract, and I think it'll be a do your best, boys. Show us what you got. I don't think the Sharks will rush into extending a lot of their longer-term players. I think the younger ones that they know that are talents, i.e. Jesse Colquhoun.
Perth after him, Dave.
Jesse Colquhoun?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a talent. I reckon
there's another Perth one, mate.
I reckon a few clubs would be. My understanding is they're down the track as far as negotiations are concerned. But this is huge for the Sharks because it's a real opportunity, if Craig Fitzgibbon wants to overturn his roster.
Feels like they need to overturn that, shuffle that roster, don't you think?
A couple of key positions.
Yeah, they feel a bit like Fitzy's taken that group potentially as far as I think he's amazing coach, Craig Fitzgibbon, right? But I almost feel like he's taken that group almost as far as he can take it, and they need to make some change.
Well, he's got some young ones coming through. Liam Eisen at fullback, Michael Gabriel in the centres, Lane Preston Setu, I'm pretty sure his name. Apologies if that's said wrong. Another talented centre. Queensland under-20s player. So there's some really good kids coming through. I mentioned Jesse Colquhoun. There's an opportunity to bring in the next gen of the Sharks if Fitzy wants to, and we're hearing all types of chatter around Jesse Ramian. I believe that's being driven by his manager, not by the club. So, yeah, you're right, Reedy.
What do they need, Dave? It feels like they need
X-factor,
something's
mate.
missing.
X-factor.
Can I tell you what I think they're missing? If Nico Hines is your highest paid player, can you realistically compete for a premiership? Is he that level of like top 5 player in the game? He's probably not, is he? So they need someone who is an absolute superstar, and they haven't got an absolute superstar. They got a lot of really good players. They got Blake Brayley's an unbelievable player. Fanua Blake's an unbelievable player, but they haven't got that true superstar.
X-factor. And this is where the Will Kennedy situation of only having the 12-month contract at fullback. And as I said to you guys before, fullback's just enormous to your success because when your halves aren't firing, so often we see that fullback playing as a third half and taking all the pressure off your halves that aren't firing that day. And Will Kennedy is absolutely 7 out of 10 every single week. There's a 9 in there sometimes, but no less than 7. Like he's super consistent. But X factor is where the Sharks are lacking. It might be a bit more strike out wide too.
Do they look
like they rely heavily on Ronaldo Mulitalo or winger? You know?
Do they look at entering the Matt Burton race? I know he's not technically off contract, right? But if Burton is given at some point permission to look around for 27, do you move Nico to fullback and maybe sign Burton? Well, they tried to sign him, didn't they? Yeah.
They did. They met him 3 years ago to try and sign him.
Because then you've got a spine that's a good spine.
Potentially.
I don't know if they've got the money for Burton. Burton's on huge money.
That's where the flexibility in the off-contract players currently.
Obviously hinges on Burton at some point, begin permission to leave the Dogs. But I don't know. I was always a believer in Nico in the halves, and
I thought he had an okay season. Really did.
I don't think Nico's their issue.
No.
To be honest, I don't think he's the problem there.
No.
We got to get out of here because the studio's booked for midday for another podcast. We got to go. We were going to touch on the Bunnies
next week.
Jai Gray, Latrell Mitchell, who should be the fullback. But if there's any others you've got, jump in Spotify, jump in the comments, put your questions in.
Give us 5 stars.
Give us 5 stars if you can. Subscribe, follow, put the
send your questions in. We'll answer them next week.
Yes, well, because that was a lot of fun.
Why don't we post on? We'll post on Insta too.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, biggest issues in the game. What do you think they are?
What do you want to know?
Yeah,
Let's do that.
That's it. Well done, Dave Riccio, Brent Reid. Great job as always.
Thanks, boys.